Oh, thank you, sir. Number 4. Oh, man, I don't know what it's supposed to do with this.
Here we go.
Yeah, so how far you want to go on this? Because we were actually trying to push people to make Bluetooth products. When was that? 4 or 5 years ago?
It started with Alex Cavelli.
He didn't want to do it.
Interested.
Yeah.
In
Nobody
fact,
wanted
no one
to
was
do it.
interested.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Really. But now it's in everything.
We wanted
Well,
to
we
do
were
that.
looking for high-powered amps with
Right,
Bluetooth
high-end, high power.
receivers in them.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, when you talk Bluetooth, they were thinking that we wanted to send Bluetooth, which everything kind of did back in the day. Everything was transmitting Bluetooth, so to speak. I mean, it had to go
Right,
somewhere.
for
but
some reason, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't headphone equipment gear or amplifiers that were made to
High-end.
receive Bluetooth.
As a-
Yeah. Everything was like
It was
1
only in the low-end
milliwatt
stuff.
or
All the
something like
high-end
that.
stuff was either wired or local source.
The ones that came through are our buddies at IFI. I mean, they made the
X-Can.
X-Can's pretty good. They made
the
a bunch of
X-Can
things
and the
with Bluetooth.
XDSD, was it first?
XDSD,
The big,
yeah.
First one.
Yeah. In fact, we sell the X-Can. We have it. We're a dealer for it. And was it $299? I think U.S. retail.
Yeah, but it's not reference class,
No.
which I suppose
Shit,
you're not
it's
going to get.
$299.
Yeah.
Right, but you're not going to get in Bluetooth.
Right.
Oh, it
for some
sounds
sort of
pretty
reason.
damn good though. Like if you throw it in a Diana V2 or something.
Yeah, but that's the other thing that's happened a lot recently is that Bluetooth has been getting better, higher bandwidth, new codecs and all that. So
Yeah, slowly.
it's actually been more feasible in the
Right.
higher end.
And yet nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
I would imagine you can make a pretty high-end amplifier that just so happens to utilize Bluetooth as an input.
Well,
But oddly, nobody's doing it. So,
No. Well, we're still pushing
Maybe it's not
people.
practical.
Still pushing people to do it, but
but for some reason, they don't want to make high-end Bluetooth. Because like we were trying to get Michael to make Bluetooth for years now.
yeah.
Some
Well,
sort
it's
of
not his forte. He's more of an analog kind of guy.
right.
Yeah.
But he's getting there. I mean, he's got digital displays popping up now, and
Right.
Well, I
I
know
mean, everybody we deal with, we try to make a Bluetooth thing.
what do you-
Well,
And they
more in the
don't do it.
consumer space, though, I think it's more of a battery life kind of issue, though. Like power consumption.
Yeah, but if you already have a
portable.
portable
Yeah.
product and you have an analog input, it seems easy enough to at least attempt to slam in some sort of off-the-shelf Bluetooth module and
not to mention
Hope
the
for the
size
best.
amps we're talking about, where you're going to do like a watt or so of power.
right.
I mean, the battery's got to be pretty significant to begin
Yeah.
with. You're probably
Well,
at almost 3,000 milliamp
the
hour.
X-Can
The
is a
Bluetooth
lot.
module is negligible, I think.
Yeah,
That's
X-Can
so
has
small.
great runtime.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's what?
1
yeah.
watt.
Yeah, 1 watt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think for demanding loads, it's still probably the best option you have.
yeah
for
which
Bluetooth.
blows my mind.
If you want a
This
Bluetooth
$300
interface.
device, which is pretty nice, pretty portable, very light, and sounds pretty damn good. And it's $300, and no one could friggin' do it better.
It'd be nice if somebody made some sort of
I don't
fancy
know
pants
if any of
thing.
the portable guys are doing Bluetooth in. I guess they wouldn't want to because they're players, right? They're all
usually, yeah.
they're all DAPs, so they
DAPs,
don't
right.
freaking care
So it
about.
wouldn't matter, yeah.
Yeah, although they're starting to, I would
They have
think.
Bluetooth, but it's usually out.
Out, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Walkman has Bluetooth
I mean, there's probably a
out.
couple we haven't paid attention to that maybe. Well, to expand on the IFI thing, as far as I know, he just uses the chipset, the Bluetooth chipset for the transceiver portion or the receiver, but they're actually doing their own internal DAC or firmware or something like that to decode it. So they're just drawing the digital signal off it. They're not using
Right.
Right.
a lot of these guys, a lot of the cheaper devices, the $20, $50 ones are running
Yeah,
whatever the hell DAC's built into the
Yeah,
Bluetooth.
right.
It's really a
It's just
crappy,
analog out of some
very
sort of
crappy
integrated unit.
implementation. It's fine if you're running, cheap earbuds,
Right.
something, but it doesn't work for us, particularly if you're running into a high power amp with gain.
Well,
a lot of
oddly
gain.
enough, for the longest time, Bluetooth had a very negative connotation. People tend to attribute Bluetooth as being low quality, inferior, or worse, and I guess that's simply because the gear you typically see it in is cheaper, lower power stuff, not high end reference
Consumer
flagship stuff.
stuff, yeah.
Right. It's made for ease of use mostly, not quite so much absolute sonic fidelity. But that doesn't seem to be a limitation for the last few years or so. There's more than sufficient bandwidth to
I mean, I think
stream
most
whatever
people-
quality you want effectively. I don't think the major problems with Bluetooth can't be solved.
Well, I think most people still, even with existing tech, with the Bluetooth or whatever, any format that's wireless, I think most people prefer the wired over
Well,
it, regardless
it's
of
like
the
easy
you
to
source.
plug
use,
it in
it's
and
the
it
same
works. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like sometimes you have connection issues and stuff.
or
Right.
noise or
Depends on the gear, though.
competing
Yeah.
devices in the
Yeah.
environment, and
Yeah.
not everyone lives in a country
and then
where
and then
there's-
it gets up to a point where then it's Apple making their own chip and that's proprietary.
works great.
And then it
Yeah,
works
why
great.
can't they
There's
just
like
sell
no
us-
in between.
Why
yeah.
can't they just sell
Pretty
us
good
those
latency
chips?
too.
Yeah. So
It'd be nice if we could get a hold of those chips.
yeah.
What's the problem?
Call Tim.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we run Apple everywhere in our place. I'm updating an OS right now on my Mac, on my desk. You know,
Yeah,
Tim, can we have some chips? It'd be cool if we could be able to, you know, B&W, Bowers and Wilkins, they just came up with their own wireless format because they didn't want to deal with stuff like that for that Foundation series too. So they've skipped over the Bluetooth concept, but that's made more for the entire home, which I guess there's a range.
Yeah.
Or how do you stream from an existing device?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could go analog or digital into. You got to get their box.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
from you can go into that with whatever.
If you want to use
and
a
then-
streaming app off your phone or something like that into
But the cool
some
thing
sort of
about that is
Bluetooth
it's not
amplifier.
limited to one device or two devices. Like you could plug in a stereo speakers in one room, another stereo speaker in another room, a center channel, and you plug them in
Right.
and they just kind of magically supposedly connect
Yeah.
Bluetooth
to
supports
the
that.
one
Yeah.
thing.
Bluetooth supports pretty much everything now.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
5.0.
only like two devices or something like that. so
I'm not
far.
sure of the limitation, but it's more than two devices.
Because if we can
my
get more than two
understanding.
devices on Bluetooth, if someone could work that out and then give us a nice little chip, then we're good to go.
The fancy latest Bluetooth standards support pretty much anything you would ever want to do.
Because that opens up a whole different ball game if you talk about multiple users being able to listen to one source, say with headphones or whatever. You know, this one person at a time stuff is really kind of a limiting
Well,
factor.
that was the limitation until like Bluetooth 5.0 or something.
Yeah.
Is when they
Yeah.
actually had multiple
Yeah.
Bluetooth streams.
Yeah, but it's now supported in iOS.
Yeah.
Presumably Android supports it or is going to.
And
So you can
there's-
have multiple people streaming
Everyone's slow to change
from one
to
device
it,
to Bluetooth headphones.
which seems to say it ain't quite ready yet. But who the hell knows?
Yeah, I don't know why it's so slow to adopt. Because it
I
seems to
don't
work really well.
know. Yeah.
Latency is, when implemented correct, not a problem at all.
It can be. If it's,
Oh yeah, for some reason it's common to find devices that have super
Yeah.
high latency, which doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing holding it back is people use devices like that weren't
Bad
good,
Bluetooth devices, sure.
and they're like, well, I don't want to even deal with.
Yeah, well, there's
that.
plenty of bad devices.
Yeah.
but
There's no question about that.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
positive to
Yeah.
implement it in a way that doesn't seem to interfere.
They need to
whatsoever.
change the name. Probably need to put something in front of Bluetooth, like Super Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, well they do that,
That
with
might work,
USB
yeah.
and all that. And then
Or
it just gets
goddamn, this is
then,
good
well,
Bluetooth.
then it just gets confusing, and nobody is that the good one? Yeah, I don't know.
Or like, I don't know, something, Bluetooth 2000. You know, there's got to be something that people go, whoa, that's different. You know, because
Well, they kind of do that with the different codecs for Bluetooth, you know,
Yeah.
like aptX and all that.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, but that didn't really hit the consumer space. People
Yeah.
don't really know
Yeah.
what that is or means.
Yeah.
That's the
so-
problem. That's confusing as hell because
Right.
just every year they put out another couple letters and it
Yeah.
doesn't really.
Right.
You can't even pronounce the damn thing.
yeah.
I suppose.
It might help.
Well,
'cause-
maybe.
Yeah, because I can't keep track of all that.
Well, it's
I don't
kinda
even-
like
I don't even
HDMI
want
or
to,
really
Yeah,
any
well, that's
standard.
the
Why would I
problem right
want
there.
to?
Well, there's the problem right
You know.
there.
Yeah.
Over time, the standards keep evolving and all these wired interfaces, and nobody really understands that there's a difference from HDMI
It worked for a
1.3
while
to
for
1.4.
HDMI. They had like 1.0,
Yeah.
1.1. At
Yeah,
least
but it's so
at least the numbers
confusing. You need to
incremented.
understand
Yeah.
what's compatible with what. So
Well,
now
you-
they're saying, like on the 8K cables, they're saying
Yeah.
this is a 8K compatible cable rather than telling you the specific HDMI standard,
Right.
which nobody knows
Yeah, they're
or
telling you
cares
what
about.
it does.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
just like.
Well, they
the
got
name.
it. That's because they ran out of numbers and no one could track it anymore. You know?
Well, yeah, nobody's.
Even that got
2.1 to
confusing.
8,
But I'm
yeah.
saying you got to start somewhere. They started with numbers and that worked for a while. Here we have.
Yeah, but after so many iterations, that falls apart.
Right. Yeah. You got to
And
call
I think
it something
Bluetooth is
else.
probably there because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing happened
There's been
with
so many
USB.
changes.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same
they
thing.
changed the standards and
Yeah.
the naming for some sort of reason.
They changed the naming, yeah.
Right.
And then now nobody even knows what it is.
Well, video's running up against a brick wall. We're at 8K. What the hell are we going to do next? Is it keep counting Ks? or what?
16K, I
16K,
guess.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's
Sure,
going
why
to get
not?
pretty boring when we go double-digit Ks. You know.
So it seems obvious that convenience is a high priority for most consumers.
Well, yeah,
right?
especially
I mean, obviously,
portably.
you look at streaming services;
Yeah.
they've been doing pretty well lately. That's what everybody wants to run. It's vastly superior in most ways to most consumers, from
I think
local
the-
media because it's so easy. You
I
always
think the
have new
biggest
content.
reason people use headphones is because they're way more convenient than
Right.
speakers.
It's true.
Of course.
Plus, you can take them with you. It's
Yeah,
a real bitch to
convenience.
carry your system over to a hotel
Absolutely.
room.
When you don't bother anybody else, too.
And so, what do you think?
Stay-
Do you think that
apartments
Bluetooth is
and
going to be
such.
more prolific in high-end gear in the near future?
What, Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Well, probably some new form. My guess is it's going to run out of steam at some point. If they can't make it work to the high-end standard that we look for, then someone else is going to take over. Something else will take over, whether it be Bauer's system or whatever. Somebody's, look, if one company could create a system for wireless that apparently works well with high-end speakers, we're talking
That's
$4,000 or
true.
$5,000 pair of speakers. I heard them a couple weeks ago at a local dealer,
Yeah.
speaker shop in Buffalo, and I thought the Foundation stuff sounded pretty damn good. It was like a pair of 805s
Well,
or whatever the hell they
maybe
were. Like
that's
small.
where it'll start, and people see it working and sounding good, and then
And they're wireless.
then they would actually want it. like Bluetooth.
People
And
start asking for
Not
it.
only that, the interface is there too. Like Bluetooth is like you got to have like a certain button somewhere to use. Like they're running this system, and it's apparently it's compatible with Roon and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. So you could go in your Roon app or something and say, okay, I want to connect to those speakers running, the Foundations, B&Ws, Bowers, or not to pump Bowers all the time, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was the ease of use
Yeah, it's
in a home
right.
environment.
integration.
Well, yeah,
The
with
whole-
That's always the goal.
Yeah.
multiple
what
systems,
it
not
is.
just like one pair of headphones,
Yeah.
was all there.
Yeah. You need everything to just
Where
work.
the Bluetooth is like, okay, I can talk to that headphone, but that's it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
Right.
And
Well,
it's
that's how it has been.
Well, what if
Yeah.
my two kids want to listen to what I'm listening to
Yeah.
on their headphones, right? Can't do it.
So maybe it's just a branding exercise then, because it's now capable of doing pretty
Yeah.
much whatever you
They
want.
could do it. Wrap
So
up.
I suppose that'll wrap it up for this episode. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, leave some comments, let us know what you want to see. We're more than happy to cover it.
Oh, and by the way, I just remembered, Can Jam's coming up next month in New York City. Hope you guys are coming. Hope you see us there. We're going to bring all the baller stuff we got. We got some new toys, too, we're going to show. So see you there.
Well, I mean, there's people that only run vinyl, so I would never run original. That's,
Why?
That's okay.
And have always
Yeah.
Always have, always
yeah.
will. Well, they usually tend to have large vinyl collections.
Where they like it.
It's analog,
Okay.
kind of like yours.
Is that better though?
Well, there's no conversion process. It's analog to analog. Now, that's what most people, I think, realize is that you're with digital, you're taking the analog, which is, of course, somebody.